Joe Schoen just wrapped up his pre-draft press conference, and I'll just say this. He knows who he's picking at 3, and after this video, you're going to know as well. If you are ready for the NFL draft, we are 8 days away. I'm pumped up. I am excited. It is right around the corner. If you're with me, hit that thumbs up icon right now. Unless Joe Schoen just went to this press conference and stood in front of this podium to give off the biggest smokescreen of all time, I'm pretty sure we all know who the Giants are going to pick at number 3. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's dive into it. I'll start with this, and this was a quote that I thought kind of stuck out to me, and honestly, I thought Joe was pretty forward in this. He usually has kind of a idea of not wanting to reveal his cards. And I'm not saying he did, but if you read between the lines and you've been following this show, it's pretty obvious. We like our options at number 3. We like who will be there. He was asked, do you know who's going to go number 1 and number 2, or are you still in the information gathering stage? And he said, we have a pretty good idea, but we are still gathering information. And he then was asked, do you feel like you have to pick a quarterback in this class? We all remember John Mara on Monday following the wrap-up of Week 18, and he said, number 1 priority is to find our franchise quarterback. So a lot of people have thought Joe Schoen has to go get one. Well, he said this, with the signing of Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, we put ourselves in a position where I do not think that is mandatory. My feet are not going to be held to the fire to pick a quarterback. We are happy with the makeup in that room right now. And he also said this on the quarterback being selected at pick number 3. If the value matches up with what we have on a player, sure, but I'm not going to force it if it's not the right value. If the board lines up when we're on the clock, we'll go with it. I'm not going to be backed into a corner on that. If the board lines up where we are at, when we are on the clock, we will make that pick. I would bet every dollar in my bank account that Shedeur Sanders is not the number 3 player on the New York Giants big board. I would make that bet with any person in the world. Pretty confident about that. Joe Schoen was asked, do you feel pressure to add a franchise quarterback this year? He said, obviously you would like to have a young franchise quarterback, but the value has to be right. If you get that one wrong, you have to be right. He has multiple times now through the pre-draft press conference and pre-draft process said the value has to be right. And he just said our board has to line up with where it is when we are on the clock. I don't know. I think he's telling you what you want to hear. He was asked about what he thought overall of the quarterbacks, and does he think there's franchise guys in there? And does he see a benefit of drafting a guy maybe on day 2 or day 3 to be a backup quarterback? And he talked about how the New York Giants have paid a lot of money for backup quarterbacks, including Drew Lock, Tyrod Taylor, and now Jameis Winston. And he said he doesn't mind the idea of having a cost-controlled, cheap backup if he is a rookie. Also said there's some depth to it. And then he was asked a follow-up question. He said, yeah, I think there's some good players. And I think that kind of tells you what he thinks about the quarterback class as well. I'll just say this. If the New York Giants pick Shedeur Sanders with the number 3 overall pick, Joe Schoen is going to do it because he thinks he is worth the number 3 overall pick in any draft. And he thinks that Shedeur Sanders can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback and has MVP-like upside. Because if you pick a quarterback number 3, that's what you expect. And when you talk about value and you talk about the big board matching up with the pick you're at, if you take quarterback 3, you think that guy should be the face of the league. And if he does pick Shedeur, he thinks that about him. And while I don't agree with that, I'll be fine if they pick him. I love that Joe Schoen, if he does pick him, has that type of conviction. And then we'll get to see how really good of a talent evaluator you are. A lot more to discuss in this video, but join us live for the entire, all 3 days of the NFL draft. And we will have a UDFA video out that Sunday. The best content on YouTube for your New York Giants over the 4-day draft weekend. I don't want you to miss it. So subscribe, turn those notifications on, and help us get to our goal of 71,000 subscribers. We're almost there. All right, Joe Schoen, let's move on from the quarterbacks a little bit. Joe Schoen was asked about Abdul Carter and about, well, you already have starters in Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, and where are you going to play him? And he said, you don't pass on a generational talent, even if you have starters at that position. You can't have enough pass rushers. And he was asked, well, Carter plays where Tibbs plays, and Carter plays where Burns plays. He said, yeah, we would find a way to use him. And anybody with a brain would be able to find a way to get after the quarterback with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter. It's almost like the New York Giants won 2 Super Bowls with having 4 great edge rushers in both those games. I don't know. He also doesn't seem worried about his foot at all. Said, I don't think there's going to be much room for pause there on Abdul Carter's foot, who was diagnosed with a stress fracture at the NFL Combine. They brought in Carter last Friday for a private workout, and Joe Schoen said in the press conference today, Carter told him he didn't even know he had that. And he went into the Combine looking to do some of the drills, and he wasn't expecting to have that injury pop up, and he said he's already begun running, and he looked good at the private workout, or not private workout, the top 30 visit they had at 1925 Giants Drive last Friday. He also spoke about Travis Hunter. And I'll just say this. He was gushing about Travis Hunter, and he was very complimentary of him. And if I had to guess, just based off that 20-minute interview, Travis Hunter is probably the number 1 player on the New York Giants big board, saying this on if he can play both ways and what position do you have. It was awesome. He was asked, Joe, do you view him as a corner or a receiver? And he paused for 6 seconds to think and was like, well, we have some corners and we have some receivers, and we're in a unique spot. And we don't have to have him play either or, and we actually think he can play both. Said, I think he'll be able to do both. Not afraid to play him on both sides of the ball. I think it would be difficult, but he's proven that he could do it and be available. And he went on to say, I wouldn't doubt the kid. Multiple times using that phrase, I wouldn't doubt this kid physically. He talked about Travis Hunter has made it clear he wants to play both ways. And Joe Schoen made it clear, we'll play him both ways because we think he could do it. I think the Giants think he's the best corner in the class, and I think they also think he's the best receiver in the class. One thing that upset me a little bit is he said the Giants have 3 really good receivers. Just not true. Joe Schoen said, ultimately, the decision falls on me. Asked essentially, is John Mara going to impact your decision, or when there's discrepancies or disagreements? Because he talked about there are respectful arguments that go down in the New York Giants draft room when it comes to picking prospect X versus picking prospect Y. He said, ultimately, it falls on the GM. And I'm the GM, and I'm going to make the final decision, and I absolutely love that. Also said that John Mara will not be on the private plane, his own private plane, to Boulder, Colorado to go watch Shedeur in his private workout the New York Giants are holding. Also talked about don't read into this private workout being late in the process. Private workouts happen after pro days, and usually pro days don't happen as late as they did with the Colorado Showcase. Also talked about how the draft is the earliest it could possibly be this year on the 24th. It's usually closer to the 30th of the month. And last year, they flew to Ann Arbor, Michigan to have a private workout with J.J. McCarthy on Easter Sunday. So this isn't anything new for the New York Giants. A lot more thoughts on this, including Evan Neal, as well as other positions the New York Giants are looking at. But first, I got to give a major shout-out to our proud sponsor, Game Time. Giants game days on Sundays are right around the corner, and the best place to get your tickets to go watch Big Blue is with Game Time. You actually get the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. Prices actually drop as the events get closer, and you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for Giants games, any sporting event, concerts, comedy shows, and so much more. Last-minute tickets and flash deals. The app will alert you when the best seats for the best prices are going on. You get views from the seats inside the app. I think everyone can appreciate lowest price guaranteed. And when you use our promo code ChatSports, CHATSPORTS, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. If you're thinking about going to watch the Knicks in the playoffs, you better use our promo code because those are not cheap. And you definitely want to turn on that all-in pricing and Game Time picks feature so you are locked in to getting the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. So download the app, create an account, and use our promo code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Support the show, support the sponsor, be a real one. All that information will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. What time is it? It is game time. Let's go. A lot of talk about the New York Giants having private workouts with Jalen Milroe and Tyler Shuck and Shedeur Sanders. And Joe Schoen made it clear that we have private workouts with other positions as well. And this isn't anything new where the Giants have multiple private workouts with multiple quarterbacks. Go back to the NFL owners meeting just a couple of weeks ago. Brian Daboll said, private workouts are where I make my final decisions. And for some reason, Andy Dalton was brought up in a reference to that, dating back to 2014 or 15 or 12, whenever he was drafted in the NFL. Joe Schoen said that I've been doing that since I got started in this business. He also said he thinks it's a deep draft at other positions like defensive line, outside linebacker, cornerback, and running back. Said there are good prospects throughout the draft at those spots, and we know the New York Giants have done their homework on the quarterback position. They've brought in a bunch of running backs for top 30 visits. Omarion Hampton, Ollie Gordon, Cam Scatterboo has come in for a visit. There's been other guys as well. I think it's been 5 running. Quinshon Judkins is one of those guys. They've brought in a handful of backs to look at for top 30 visits, and I would not be shocked if the New York Giants select a running back inside the top 105 in this draft. He also said that they've received some calls on trading down or up or moving around in the NFL draft. Says when he was asked, do you think that you're going to stick and pick or something along those lines, he said, we'll be open to all options in terms of trading up and down. We've received some calls. And, of course, he's going to say that. He's not going to go up there and say, there's no way we're doing a trade, because then teams wouldn't call. And if someone offers 3 first-round picks to get up to number 3, you probably should listen and maybe even make that deal. He also talked about Evan Neal, because there's been a lot of chatter about him. He referenced how at the NFL owners meetings he talked about Evan Neal has been open to playing guard and how maybe he could switch there this offseason, saying he's going to do whatever he can to help the organization. He's motivated. He's had a good offseason. He's working hard, and I like that. And I think Evan Neal has looked in the mirror and accepted the truth that he's not going to be the right tackle on this team. That is Jermaine Illuminor. The Giants went out and signed 2 swing tackles as well in NFL free agency. The path for Evan Neal to be a player that provides production to this team is at guard. It's right there. You got Greg Van Roten, and that's it. So we'll see if Evan Neal buys into playing guard, or if the Giants actually do switch him there, or if he's going to be a part of this team long term. He was then asked, what are you going to do with the 5th-year options on Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeaux, as both those gentlemen are entering their 4th year in the NFL season. We get drafted in round 1. The 5th year on that contract is a team option, and you have to make that decision prior to the 4th year of that player's season starting. And he said we will wait until after the draft for 5th-year options. So no word yet on if they're going to pick that up for Thibodeaux. If I had to guess, they'll pick up the 5th-year option for Thibodeaux. They will not do the same with Evan Neal. Overall, my biggest takeaway is probably this. If the New York Giants take Shedeur Sanders with the number 3 overall pick, they are in full bloom love with him. Like, I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but it was like, drafting a quarterback in the top 5 is like marrying your wife. You got to really love him, and you don't want anybody else. And that's what it is. Like, the value has to match up. The board and the pick have to be similar. If the Giants pick Shedeur Sanders at 3, that tells me that they have a top 10 grade on him in this class, and they believe he could be a franchise quarterback, a franchise elevating quarterback that can have confetti fall on him and put number 5 in the trophy case. He mentioned also not feeling pressure to draft a quarterback, which maybe is just him yapping up there or whatever it is, but I'd be shocked if John Mara didn't follow up on what he said on Black Monday a couple months ago and said, hey, remember, Jameis is in his 30s and Russ is his 36 or 37, but I like the idea. And at this point, this is kind of how I feel. Again, I don't think I would take. I'm not taking Shedeur at number 3. I would not. Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are 2 good prospects. And that's who I think the pick is. It's going to be Carter or it's going to be Hunter, which one of those guys is left. I'd be fine with Hunter at Shedeur at number 3 because the organization thinks it's a franchise guy, and it's a guy that we could all get behind and root for and hope that he is that guy. But if you don't take Shedeur, don't take a quarterback at all. Like, that's kind of where I am settling on. I like the idea of maybe taking a Hail Mary swing on a guy like Jalen Milroe, but I'm not doing that at 34, and I'm not trading into round 1 to do that either. Like, you have 5 picks inside the top 105. This team is a long way away. So they're not a quarterback away, a rookie quarterback away from being back on track and on the way to being a winning organization. You have the chance with 5 top 105 picks to walk away with 3 or maybe 4 starters if you're that good of an organization when it comes to identifying and developing talent. Build up the roster one more year. Do it one more time. And then next year in 2026, go get your guy and be aggressive. You can go trade up. If like the roster jumps up from being, which I would say is probably a C-plus roster in the NFL right now, then after the draft and after one more free agency cycle, you can get up to a B to a B-plus roster, then you can trade multiple first-round picks to go get that franchise quarterback. Like, think about it like this. Just because you pick a quarterback, it doesn't save your job. We saw the New England Patriots pick Drake May last year. Gerard Mayo got canned. And he played damn good. Drake May is better than Shedeur Sanders. And if Shedeur plays better than Drake May does in year one, I will be totally shocked. And I don't even know how much he's going to play because you have Russ and you have Jameis, and both their contracts are very heavily incentivized with starting time. So we'll see. At this point, I think it's Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, whichever guy is left. Predict the pick. Who do you think is going to be the pick when Roger Goodell says, with the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Football Giants select? Give me your thoughts in the comment section. And make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG, @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up, and let's go G-Men.